So, I welcome you all to the 30th lecture of this NPTEL MOOC course titled Psychology of Stress, Health and Well-being. So, this is 13th lecture overall, but this is the first lecture of module 5. So, in this module 5 is again about coping processes and strategies. This section 7, second section. So, the module 4 was about coping processes and strategies 1. So, this is coping processes and strategies 2. So, in the module 4 we have started talking about coping processes and various strategies, and primarily we have focused on the definitions of coping processes and strategies and some of the common maladaptive strategies that are used by commonly used by the people. In this module we are specifically talking about the idea of the specific strategies of constructive coping strategies. So, before we talk about today's lecture which is about relaxation exercises, let us have a brief recap of the last lecture, that is lecture 12. So, in the lecture 12 or the last lecture we have discussed about the concept of constructive coping or healthy coping strategies. So, we have discussed that by the word constructive coping we generally mean that the coping strategies which involves dealing with the stress or addressing the stressors which are relatively in a relatively healthy and more positive ways of dealing with them. And we, in that context, we have also tried to understand that our quality of life, the productivity and the efficiency of our life largely depends on our effectiveness, the effectiveness of our coping strategies that we use in our day-to-day life. In that context, we have discussed Kaplan's 7 characteristics of effective coping or constructive coping. Primarily the ideas which were discussed under the 7 characteristics included actively actively dealing with the stressors, particularly engagement type of coping, actively seeking support wherever it is required, particularly the social support, and breaking a larger problem into smaller chunk. This was another important characteristics. And then mastering feelings and having faith in oneself and the others. So, these are the some of the characteristics that we have discussed under Kaplan's 7 characteristics of coping strategies. Then we have discussed coping effectiveness training. So, some coping effectiveness training module was developed by Folkman and other colleagues, and primarily we have not gone into the details of the modules of the coping effectiveness training, but we have discussed some of the major characteristics of coping effectiveness training, how to effectively deal with stressors, particularly what are the important ideas that we need to understand and remember. So, in that context we have discussed 3 important steps. One step is first step is identifying stressors and breaking them from general to more specific stressors or larger stressor into more manageable smaller stressors, because it is difficult to deal with larger stressors at a time. So, it is always better to break them into more manageable smaller chunks so that we can deal with them more effectively. And the second idea is sorting stressors into changeable and unchangeable aspects. So, once you break stressors into more manageable smaller chunks, then find out what is changeable and what is unchangeable. And then the third step is matching those strategies with the sources of the stressors. So, basically if there is a changeable aspects in the stressors, we need to use, it is better to use problem focused coping, and if there is something unchangeable in that stressors, we cannot do anything about it, then it is better to use emotion focused coping strategy. Then we have discussed physical ways of coping. So, basically we have started talking about specific strategies from the last class. So, we started talking about at the physical level what we can do to cope with the stressors. So, one important thing that we have discussed in that context was physical exercises, which is generally connected with the physical health, but research also shows that physical exercises, particularly aerobic exercises, play a very important role for both physical and mental health, and particularly dealing or effectively dealing with the stressful life circumstances. It primarily does so by making some physiological changes. In that sense, aerobic exercises reduces stress hormones from the body, particularly cortisol, and also regular exercises also aerobic exercises releases helps to release hormones such as endorphins, which enhances our mood. So it kinds of enhances positivity in our life, and also research shows that we have discussed that exercise also gives us break from the regular worries and tension that we experience in life. So it kinds of gives us a break from that while we focus on exercises, and that is basically called as timeout hypothesis. So we have discussed all these things in the last lecture. Today in this lecture we will focus on few more specific strategies which are related to kind of physical ways of coping, but they are more like mind body strategies. So today we will talk about relaxation exercises which are generally discussed in the context of coping with stress. So we will discuss relaxation exercises, and particularly two specific strategies we will discuss. One is deep breathing exercises, and another is called as progressive muscle relaxation. So relaxation exercises are kind of very popular methods generally suggested by professionals or laymen for coping with the stress, and most of you may be knowing some relaxation exercises, and generally people find them very beneficial in terms of dealing with stress, or at least removing the stress from our system, from the mind and body. So relaxation and stress responses are kind of opposite to each other, simply because when you are stressed you cannot be relaxed, and when you are relaxed you cannot be stressed. So these are kind of contradictory states of mind. And physiologically also, stress is mediated by sympathetic nervous system, and relaxation is mediated by parasympathetic nervous system. So induction of relaxation response automatically reduces stress, because this is a contradictory state. So this is relaxation exercises are one of the effective or the most popular method and effective method for dealing with stress or coping with the stress. So let us start talking about one such strategy of relaxation, which is deep breathing, or it is also called as diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing or deep breathing. It is a very common wisdom generally, whenever we experience stress and anxiety, people will generally suggest you take few deep breaths. So there is an inherent understanding, within most of us that taking deep breaths helps us to relax immediately. So this has very important impact, and most of the people know about it. So let us see what is the mechanisms and how it influences us. So one important question I would like to ask you, before discussing deep breathing, have you noticed how you breathe when you are relaxed and when you are tensed? Have you noticed the difference in your breathing pattern when you feel relaxed as compared to when you feel highly tensed? If you notice, if you observe your breathing pattern, you will find specific differences in the breathing pattern based on your mental states. So our mental state influences our breathing pattern. So this is one of the important kind of correlation that we can observe and find. So generally, when we are relaxed, generally we take slow and deep breathing. Automatically it happens. When you are tense and stressed, we take shallow and fast breathing. It happens automatically. Physiologically there is a connection. So, depending on your mental state, our breathing pattern also changes. So, we use this wisdom of the body to induce relaxation by deep breathing. So, generally, our breathing patterns can influence our mental and physical state and health. I mean, so breathing is so important. I mean, obviously, breathing is connected to our life, but our health, physical and mental health are also very strongly connected to our breathing patterns. So, there are two basic patterns of breathing that generally we can observe, as I have discussed. One is called as chest breathing or thoracic breathing. Thoracic breathing or chest breathing. So, basically which is called as shallow breathing, shallow and fast breathing. And the second type of breathing is called as diaphragmatic breathing or abdominal breathing, which is also called as slow and deep breathing. So, commonly these are two patterns of breathing that we I mean, in terms of extremes of breathing pattern, we can find out these two patterns of breathing. One is chest breathing or shallow breathing, one is abdominal breathing or deep and slow breathing. Thoracic or chest breathing is basically shallow rapid breaths in the upper part of the lungs. So, upper part of the lung is near to chest. So, generally our chest moves when we do or when we engage in chest breathing or shallow breathing. So, most of the air goes to upper part of the lungs. So, our chest basically moves while doing chest breathing or shallow breathing. On the other hand, diaphragmatic or abdominal breathing is generally deep and slow breathing, which goes up to the lower part of the lung. So, our stomach or abdomen moves while doing deep breathing. So, it goes up to the stomach level. So, lower part of the lungs. So, while doing deep breathing, actually our stomach moves, moves outside while doing abdominal breathing. Our chest area moves during the chest breathing, while abdomen or the stomach moves while doing diaphragmatic breathing or deep breathing. And this deep breathing is fundamental to all relaxation exercises, simply because whatever relaxation exercises we do, deep breathing kinds of, we start with deep breathing. So, this is very important, because this is one of the best and the direct ways of inducing a relaxation response in the body. So, it is a common undercurrent among all relaxation exercises. On top of that, we can do many other kinds of strategies or techniques we can use, but most of the strategies kind of start with a deep breathing. So, according to some Harvard Medical School publication, deep breathing is becoming more and more unnatural in today's world for many reasons. People are kind of promoting, kind of consciously and unconsciously, are engaged in more and more shallow chest breathing. One major reason is related to our concept of ideal body image. So, generally, if you see the media and the advertisement and this whole world of ideal body image, generally a flat stomach is considered attractive for both male and female. So, consciously or unconsciously, most of the time we are conscious that stomach is kind of inside, it is flat stomach, because it is associated with ideal body image and attractive body image. So, as a result, we are kind of most of the time doing chest breathing. So, we are not doing involved in deep breathing, so that the breath goes into the stomach and the movement in the stomach happens. So, most of the time we are not doing that, simply because we want to keep our stomach flat. So, most of the time unconsciously we are doing chest breathing just to keep or show our body as more attractive or kind of ideal image of the body. So, this kind of concepts are associated, it interferes with our deep breathing, and gradually it becomes a normal thing, chest breathing becomes a normal thing. So most of the time we are kind of engaged in shallow chest breathing and not doing the deep breathing. So it may have consequences in terms of such shallow breathing may actually will not help us to relax in a very deeper sense. So most of the time we may be more anxious and stressed simply because we are not able to take deep breathing. And in the shallow breathing, another the thing is that in the lowest part of the lung doesn't get the proper share of oxygenated air. So if you are doing shallow breathing, your lungs is not getting the amount of oxygenated air that is required for the lungs. So because it is shallow, it is not kind of fully oxygenated, air is not going to the lungs properly. So it may have physiological consequences and it may have mental consequences in terms of we will not be able to relax properly. So if you just let me show you using a diagram about this mechanism, the connection between the mind and breathing pattern. So whenever so this mental experience of stress and anxiety induces shallow chest breathing, or it can be other way around also. Sometimes too much of shallow and chest breathing may induces stress and anxiety in the mind also. So both can interact in both ways. On the other hand, so on the other hand, relaxed state of mind induces deep and slow abdominal breathing, and on the other way around also it can happen. Deep and slow abdominal breathing can induce relaxation. So let's say when we experience stress and anxiety, it automatically induces shallow chest breathing. If you can change our breathing pattern at that moment like this, so instead of shallow chest breathing, if we induce deep slow breathing at the moment when we experience stress, it will slowly change our mental experience of stress and anxiety, and it will kind of replace stress and anxiety with relaxation response. So this is the mechanism that actually works out here. So whenever we experience stress, we are likely to experience deep and chest breathing. If you consciously change at that moment your breathing pattern into more abdominal, deep and slow breathing, it will induce relaxation response in our mind and change stress and anxiety to more relaxed response. Primarily deep and slow breathing activates by actually activating parasympathetic nervous system, whose function is to calm down and relax. It induces relaxation response. So basically it activates parasympathetic nervous system, which induces relaxation response. So, this is the connection or mechanism between mind and breathing pattern. So, when we are anxious, stressed or disturbed, our breathing pattern becomes rapid, shallow and irregular. So, basically the breathing changes to thoracic breathing. Interestingly, by changing breathing pattern, we can change our mental experiences. So, if you consciously change our breathing to slow, deep and abdominal breathing during exercise or stress, during anxiety and stress, it will activate parasympathetic nervous system and induce relaxation. So, this is the whole thing that I tried to show using diagram. So, this is the mechanism by which deep breathing works. So, some research shows that slow or deep breathing is associated with increase in parasympathetic activity of the nervous system, which is associated with relaxation response. A growing number of empirical studies also reveal that diaphragmatic or breathing or abdominal or deep breathing triggers body's relaxation response and benefit both physical and mental health. So, many research also indicates the benefits of deep breathing. So, here is some of the instruction that you can follow for doing simple deep breathing exercise. So, for doing a deep breathing exercise, it is a very simple, it may take hardly 5 minutes that can be done while when we experience stress, or it can be done as a regular part of exercise. So, for this you can just sit or lie down in a comfortable position. So, this can be done while sitting in a chair also or while lying down also. So, for deep breathing generally you need to put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest, so that you can detect the movement where the air is going. So, the idea of deep breathing is that it should go to your belly should move, and in chest breathing your chest moves. So, just to detect that, you put both your hand, one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. So, inhale, take a deep breath through your nose. So, you can just inhale, take deep breath. So, whenever you will take deep breath, one thing that you will experience that your hand that is put on your belly will move. Your hand on your chest should not move. So, if your hand on your belly moves, that is the sign that you are taking deep breath. So, if your hand on your chest in your abdomen moves out, so that is then you are taking deep breaths. So, as you inhale, feel your belly rise and that pushes your hand out. Your hand on the chest should not move. So, while inhaling, your hand on your belly should move out and your hand on your chest should not move. Take a short pause after the inhalation, then exhale. While you breathe out through your pressed lips, not through nose here, through your pressed lips as if you are whistling. So, your breath should move out of your pressed lips as if you are whistling. So, as you exhale, your hand on your belly should fall back. Again, your hand on your belly should fall back, and there should not be any movement in the hand of your chest, hand that is put on your chest. So, this is the simple exercise that you can do. Just put your one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Inhale through your nose. While inhaling, your hand on your belly should move out. Hold it for some time, few seconds. Exhale through your lips as if you are whistling. While exhaling, again your hand on your belly should move, not on your chest. So, this is a very simple exercise that can be done for deep breathing whenever it is required, or it can be done as a regular exercise also. This is one of the simplest exercise that immediately induces a relaxation response, and so we should make this habit of doing deep breathing as much as possible. It is good for your body as well as mind also, because through deep breathing your lungs is also getting more oxygenated air. When you do shallow breathing, your lungs is also kind of deprived of oxygenated. So this is very important that we can do it consciously through exercise also, and we can do it in a regular day to day life also. We can make it more habit of doing deep breathing. Now we will talk about another relaxation exercise which is called as progressive muscle relaxation, which is in short form also called as PMR. This is again one of the most very popular relaxation exercise among professionals also, and one of the most effective ways of doing very deep relaxation. And it was developed by Jacobson in 1938. So you can see it was developed many decades ago, but still it is very popular simply because of its effectiveness. So what is progressive muscle relaxation? So progressive muscle relaxation teaches us how to relax our muscles through two-step processes. So it actually it is not directly focused on mind as such, but it is focused on relaxing our muscles of the body using two steps. One is first you systematically tense particular muscle groups of the body. So we have different muscle groups in our body. We will discuss some of the examples of those muscle groups, and we can identify each muscle group and tense them, so that tense them more in one step. We tense these muscle group one by one, such as your face, or it could be your arm and shoulder. So tense the muscle group one by one. This is the one step, systematically one by one. And then once you tense the muscle group, you notice the tension, and then you release the tension and feel the relaxation. So tensing the muscle, relaxing and releasing them, and feel the relaxation. So this is the whole idea of progressive muscle relaxation. So first is identifying different muscle groups of the body, tensing each muscle group, and then relaxing them, tensing them, relaxing them. So what is this idea of tensing and relaxing, how it works? So the idea is that whenever there is a contrasting experiences, we kind of understand the value of an experience in the presence of a contrast. So whenever we feel very tense, then we can understand the value of relaxation. So we create a contrasting kind of experience, and then you feel the opposite, which is much more easier to feel when there is a contrast. So we kind of understand the value of happiness when we are very in a sorrowful state. So sorrowful state makes happiness much more important. So there is a contrast. Similarly, when we consciously use or create tension, the relaxation, the importance of relaxation and the experience of relaxation become much more pronounced, and we experience it in a much better way. So by creating this tension and relaxation, we achieve a highly relaxed state of body, which ultimately induces relaxation in the mind also. So this is the basic idea of progressive muscle relaxation. So here the connection of mind body is basically like this. So, this is the cycle actually what happens whenever we experience stress and tension in our mind, it influences our body muscles. So, you might have experienced that whenever you are very stressed, you experience headache, you experience pain in the muscles of the body, particularly back, neck. It is primarily because our tension of our mind is kind of getting influenced and it is kind of stored in the body muscles. So, tension in the mind is actually creates tension in the body muscles, which is experienced in terms of pains and aches in the body, and this tension in the body or muscles in turn increases the tension in the mind. So, it is a kind of vicious circle, one influences the other, then again that influences the other again. So, this is kind of vicious circle that many times people find it difficult to come out of it. So, according to Jacobson, who developed this technique, there is a direct relationship between tension in the mind and tension in the body muscles. So, directly, and I think we do not need research evidence, we all can experience that in our day to day life also. Anxiety, stress creates muscle tensions. So, anxiety and stress creates tension or tighten up muscles in the body or muddy. That is why we all say that I need to relax my body. So, because body becomes very heavy and stiff when we experience stress and anxiety in the mind. This tightness in the muscle leads to various unpleasant feelings in the body, such as headache, pain in the neck, chest, back, etc. And these unpleasant feelings in the body further increases stress and anxiety, that increases muscle tension. So, this is a kind of vicious cycle that we experience many times in our day to day life. So, this is what happens. So, using progressive muscle relaxation, we are trying to break this vicious circle. So, trying to break it by relaxing our body muscles. So, that will turn again relax our mind, which will again relax our body. So, this relaxation of the muscle will kind of break this cycle. So, relaxation is the only way to break this vicious cycle, and particularly this progressive muscle relaxation is very effective in the sense it really works at the body level, not just at the mental level. It relaxes the body at the muscle level, and it can be done very easily because we do not need much focus and concentration. It is more like physical exercise where it can be done by everybody. So, relaxation is a skill that we need to learn because it will not happen automatically. We need to induce it, do something about it. Progressive muscle relaxation is one such skill that induces relaxation very easily, and it can be learned by everybody because there is nothing much technical about it. So, I will just tell you what are the steps involved in it. So, it works on the principle that one cannot feel anxious when physically relaxed. So, when we are in the state of physically relaxed state, we cannot experience stress and anxiety because both are kind of contradictory state of experience. Both cannot happen together. They can happen separately. So, I will just give you some of the instructions of how to do it. So, before one need to do progressive muscle relaxation, few important things, it can be done by everybody, but few important instructions one need to remember. One is it may take about 15 minutes, even shorter versions can be done also, but in general it may take 15 minutes for this exercise, and it is better to do it in a quiet and comfortable place so that there is no distraction. It is better to remove your shoes and wear loose clothes, so which is true for any exercise. If you have any underlying medical condition that may hinder your in terms of tensing muscles, so if there are issues in your bones, certain part of the body, so it is better not to do it. Ideally there is no problem, it is not a serious threat, but if there are some issues, medical issues, it is better not to do it, especially some that hinder some physical activity or there is some problem in your bones. and avoid doing it immediately after heavy food. So, generally we should not do any exercise after meal. So, because that is not the right time for doing exercise. So, these are few important things that we should remember while doing any exercise, and particularly progressive muscle relaxation. Some of the general instruction before I give you specific instructions. So, as I have said, deep breathing is kind of common to all relaxation exercises. So, similarly, progressive muscle relaxation, we should start with deep breathing. So, before you begin, take few deep and slow breaths. So, it will help you to kind of stabilize and feel relaxed. The next step is tensing the muscle groups. So, I will just tell you what are the muscle groups. So, as you breathe in, tense the muscle group. You can identify different muscle groups and start with one muscle group. Let us say start with feet. Tense the muscle group as hard as you can for 5 to 10 seconds. As you inhale, tense the muscle group. Let us say this is your hand, you want to tense it. So, tense it as much as possible for at least 5 seconds. Feel the tension of in the target muscle group, whatever, let us say this is hand, and then you release it. So, tensing muscle group is the first. Then the next is obviously releasing the tension. While you exhale, you simply release the tension of the muscle. So, you tense it as much as possible while inhaling. While exhaling, just release all the tension and feel the relaxation that is kind of experienced in that particular muscle group. Feel how the stress leaves the target. So, if you tense and then relax, all the tension will release, and you can experience it because there was a contrast. Notice the difference between tension and relaxation. Fully immerse in the experience of relaxation. So, tense, relax, and then rest for few seconds, maybe 5 to 10 seconds, and feel the relaxation in the target muscle for some time. So, what are the target muscle groups? So, we have different muscle groups in our body. We can kind of do this exercise by identifying those muscle groups. So, we can start from, let us say, feet to toe. So, we can progressively muscle relaxation. This is called as progressive muscle relaxation. So, you relax different muscle groups progressively one by one. So, progressively when we do an exercise or identify muscle group progressively from, let us say, feet to head or head to feet, it can be done both ways. So, let us say we start with feet to head, different muscle groups we can identify. So, start with feet, which includes feet and toes basically. This could be one muscle group. We can tighten this muscle group simply by curling your toes or pressing the feet if you are sitting on the floor, and or curling the toes. So, you can just tense the muscle in the feet. So, you can find out the ways of tensing it. It can be done very easily. So, you can start with feet and toes, basically feet part. So, this could be one separate muscle group. Then go little upper side of the body up. After feet, we can come to lower legs. So, basically lower leg is the part between your knee and ankle, and it includes calves muscles, which is basically back portion of the lower leg, which has a lot of muscles. So, one can tense the lower leg by tightening the muscles of the calves. It can be done. You can just try it, tightening the muscles of the lower leg by tightening the muscles of the calves. So, you can tense it, tighten it, and then release it. So, if you come little upper side of the body, then comes upper leg and pelvis. So, upper leg is between the knee and your hip area. So, you can tighten this muscle group by tightly squeezing both your thighs together, squeeze it, tense it, and then you can relax it. So, this can be done very easily. So, after upper lux and pelvis area comes your stomach and chest area. So, you can either do stomach and chest separately, or you can do both stomach and chest together. You can tense them as a muscle group. So, this can be done by by sucking your stomach in and squeezing it. You can feel the tension both chest and stomach by sucking it in and squeezing it. So, it can be done. So, tensing of this area can be done like that. Then comes our back area. So, back area can be tense simply by bringing your shoulders together behind you. So, like this you can bring your shoulders together backside and tense it. Your arm and shoulders, you can just make fist like this and tense it. So, this whole area from shoulder and arm can be tensed and relaxed. Then come neck and face. So, neck and face can be together, can be tensed and relaxed, by simply distorting the muscles around your eyes and mouth. So, you can just do it like this and tense the whole muscle groups in your face and neck, and then you can relax it. So, this is the way we can identify different muscle groups. Shorter ways of doing it, you can just do legs together, shoulder, chest, neck, back together, face together. So, that can be done, but it is better in the beginning use doing do identify more number of muscle groups and target one by one to get more the effective outcome of the exercise. So, this is the way you can identify, target one muscle group, then progressively you move higher upper part of the body one by one, tense them, relax them, tense them, relax them. So, you can move from feet to head like that. So, your whole body will be fully relaxed, and you can experience relaxation at a very deeper level, at the body level also, at the physiological level also. So, basically the whole idea of this exercise is, I can show it like this. So, start with deep breathe. Then comes let us say muscle group 1. So, we can start with let us say feet. So, this is muscle group 1. So, tensing muscle group while primarily ideally this tensing should be done while inhaling, you tense, and while exhaling you relax. One, while exhaling. Some people do not do it exactly with inhaling, exhaling, but it is better to do it while inhaling you tense, while exhaling you relax. Then rest. For few seconds. So, this is how you do it, let us say for muscle group 1. After that you just repeat the same process for muscle group 2, group 3, etc., maybe whatever. So, you can repeat the same cycle again and again for different muscle groups. So, this is how it is done. So, let me give you some one detailed instruction so that you can follow just for your benefit, how you can do it. So, as we have said, we should you can start with do it while sitting or lying down in a comfortable position. You can just sit or lie down in a comfortable position in a comfortable and quiet place where there is no distraction. So, you can start by taking few deep breaths. While inhaling, or feel how the air is filled in your lungs. Hold it for some times and then exhale. So, take few such deep breaths. To relax. Now, you can move your attention to the feet and toes of your leg. While inhaling, start tensing your feet by curling your toes as much as possible. Tense it for at least 5 seconds. Hold the breath, tense it for at least 5 seconds. Feel the tension, how it feels like. Then release the tension. And now notice the feelings of relaxation in your feet. Rest for a few seconds and feel the relaxation on your feet. Next, focus on your lower leg. While inhaling, tense your muscles of your calves as much as possible. Tense them. Feel the tension and then release the tension while exhaling. Feel the relaxation in your lower leg and rest for a few seconds. Next, you can focus on your upper leg and a pelvis area. You can tense this area while inhaling by tightly squeezing your thighs together. Tense them, feel the tension. Hold it for a few seconds and then release the tension while exhaling. Feel the relaxation in upper leg and pelvis area. Take rest for few seconds. Now focus on your stomach and chest area. While inhaling, tense this area. You can do it by sucking your stomach in and squeezing it. Hold the tension, feel the tension for 5 seconds and then release the tension and feel the relaxation. Take rest for a few seconds. Then you can focus on your back area. Tense the back area by bringing your shoulders together behind you. tense them as much as possible, tense them for few seconds and release the tension. Now, feel the relaxation and take rest for few seconds. Now, focus on your arm and shoulders. You can just tense them by making fist, tense them for few seconds and then release the tension while exhaling and feel the relaxation in your arm and shoulders. Take rest for a few seconds. Now, we can move up to our neck and face. You can tense this area by distorting muscles around your eyes and mouth. So, you can tense them like this, tense them for a few seconds as much as possible, feel the tension and then release while exhaling and feel the relaxation in your face and neck. So, after doing like this progressively one muscle after another muscle, at last you can tense your whole body together in whatever possible way. You can kind of tightly squeeze your whole body, face, leg together, tense it, feel the tension while inhaling and then release all tensions while exhaling and feel how your body feels now. Each and every muscle fibers will be relaxed and you may feel a deeper relaxation throughout your body and ultimately it will also get translated into your mental relaxation also. So, this is how you can do progressive muscle relaxation. So, the idea is you progressively one by one identify different muscle groups, tense each of them and relax, then go to the second muscle group, tense them, relax them. Like this you move from feet to head or head to feet, whatever is suitable for you, and in this way you relax the muscle groups of whole body and ultimately you relax your mind also. So, there will be very deeper level of relaxation using this exercise. You can experience that. So, this is another way of relaxation. So, there are many such exercises, but these are most popular and very easy to do exercises that I have discussed. These are one of the common ways of or effective ways of coping with stress is learning to relax yourself using some relaxation exercises. So, you can do deep breathing as well as progressive muscle relaxation. Both are very effective, at least research also indicates that. So, we will be talking about different coping strategies one by one. So, till now mostly we in the section of constructive coping we have looked into more like physical ways of coping or mind body strategies. So, at the physical level what can we do to cope with the stress. Next we will talk about at the mental level how can we cope with the stressors by manipulating our thought processes. So, that we will discuss in the next class. So, with this I will end today's lecture. Thank you.